Welcome back everyone to more Farming Simulator 19 coverage here at Knee Pit Gaming. Today's video is all about horses, a brand new addition to the Farming Simulator 19 game this season, and we're going to be talking about the basics of how do you get started with horses, how do you take care of them, and of course, how do you make money off of horses. And to get started, we are here at the animal dealer. Let's bring up the map. There are actually two different ways that you can purchase animals here on the map. One is by going directly to the animal dealer, which you can see is toward the middle of the map and then a little bit toward the bottom as well. So here we are at the animal dealer. It's actually at the back of the building, so you need to come around back rather than just on the main road, and you'll walk up to the designated area, and as soon as you walk inside, the R key will open up the animal dialog. So this is option number one on how to purchase animals. And as soon as you open up the animal dealer screen, you're going to notice that the options that you have are going to be based on what animal enclosures you've already set up. So if you don't have any animal enclosures, you're probably not going to see any animals in here, and that's why. For our purposes here in this test world, we only have a horse enclosure, so that's why we see all of these horses that are available. We see their purchase price, which is $5,000. Now, keep in mind, all of these numbers that we're going to be talking about here in today's video are based off of the Farm Manager Start. That's going to be very important. The Farm Manager Start is the middle option of the three whenever you're starting a new world. And the Farm Manager Start simply gives you a lot of money right off the start, and you start off with no land, no equipment, no anything. So you have to purchase and build everything that you're going to be using. That's important for us because the numbers I'm going to be talking about here will be different. In some cases, very different than what you would get if you're using one of the other two starting options. So again, keep that in mind. We're using the Farm Manager Start. So our purchase price is $5,000 regardless of which one of these horses that we choose. And you can see they vary in the color of the horse and the style. So we have all of these options, and the money is not affected based on which one you choose. So what we would do is we would simply, under the animal dealer's selection, we would double click on one or highlight one and use in the bottom left the move key. And that will move it over to our farm area on the right hand side of the screen. And now you can see that we have a new horse. We purchased a gray horse for $5,000. But there's one additional part to this that we haven't talked about just yet. And that is, how do we get the horse here from the animal dealer to our particular farm and into the animal enclosure? Well, you have two options there as well. Number one is that you can simply pay an additional fee. And here you can see $300 is the additional fee in order to have the animal dealer transport the horse directly to the enclosure for you. Okay, your other alternative is that you could simply bring a trailer into the designated area. And let's take a look at the trailer itself. So we're going to be under the storefront, we're under the tools selection, and we're going to go animal transport. And the very first option here is for the horses, and you can see it will transfer 2 horses at a time. Okay, so you have the option of either of those ways of doing it. If you want to pay, if you don't mind paying the fee, then you don't have to worry about purchasing the trailer. It really just depends on how many horses you want to get and how often you plan on trading in and out with the horses as to whether or not it's cost effective for you to purchase that trailer. All right, so that's one way that we can purchase the horses. Now let's look at the second option. All right, now that we're back at our farm area inside of the horse paddock, you can get an idea of the size. This is the smaller of the 2 horse paddocks and has a capacity of 8 horses. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. But first, I had mentioned that there are 2 ways that you have to purchase and also to sell the animals. The first was at the animal dealer, which we just left. The second is within this designated area on the side of the horse paddock. So if we walk inside the designated area, press the R key, you can see that we're looking at very much the same thing that we saw at the animal dealer. We have the animal dealer on the left-hand side where we can choose to purchase new animals. And on the right-hand side, we have our farm, which includes all of our existing livestock. And in this case, our one horse that we have on the farm. All right, so once you have this possibility, this is probably the easier of the two options, is simply to set up your farm area and then purchase them from here. But again, you're going to pay that extra fee in order to have them transported. Also, just to the side here, you can see the horse trailer, which we took a look at a moment ago in the storefront. This is what it looks like on the farm, and it has a capacity of 2 horses. Now, if we had parked this particular trailer inside the designated area, then whenever I press the dialogue option, instead of seeing the animal dealer here on the left, we would actually see the trailer and any animals that might be currently inside the trailer, and give us an opportunity to move them from the trailer onto the farm. So that's how that works if you decide to purchase the trailer and transport them on your own. All right, now that we know how to purchase the animals, we know how to get them to and from the animal dealer. If we decide to use the trailer option and transport them ourselves, let's take a look a little bit at the horse paddocks themselves. Again, this is the smaller option, and if we press the storefront to open it up, we're going to come to the last tab here and go under animal pens. Okay, if we scroll over just a little bit, you can see the 2 horse paddocks here. We're currently in the 50,000, the smaller one, which has a capacity of 8 horses. The next option is the larger horse paddock, which is $95,000 and has twice the capacity at 16. Now, a word about the cost of these particular paddocks. The $50,000 is the cost for building the paddock itself. That does not include any terrain fees that you're going to have for deforming the terrain to flatten it out and make this fit. So keep that in mind. You can very easily, if you try to place one of these paddocks, particularly the larger one because it has more area, you can get into some very large terrain deformation fees to flatten the area and have it correct. So keep that in mind, and always watch that whenever you are looking for areas to place these paddocks. Okay, so we're inside our 8 capacity paddock, and let's just take a walk around it and see how we're going to take care of our horses. So again, we start out here. This is where you're going to load and unload, purchase and sell any horses that you have. But as we work our way around, we come to this area again, a designated area. This is where you're going to put straw in for bedding. Now, the straw you put in will show up all through this area on the ground. In fact, you can see we have a little bit left of it right here. We're at the very end of the testing here, so that's why there's so little that is left at this point. But it'll be all in this area, and this is used as the area for the straw bedding. So that's where you're going to unload that. And then next up, you can see I have the water tank that is already stored here, letting us know that this is the area where you're going to fill up the water for the horses. Okay, we have those 2 things taken care of. Next, we come over and we see the loading wagon is parked here because this is where we're going to put in the food. Now, the food for the horses is one of 2 things, or preferably both. We're going to click on the animal icon here, and it gives us the opportunity to see what is available to us as far as conditions as well as food. So let's spend a few moments talking about this particular screen, because you're going to spend a lot of time looking at this screen for various reasons. First of all, on the far left-hand side, each of the horses that you have in the particular paddock area will have a percentage in this area. This is the percentage of fitness per day. This is the percentage of time that you have ridden them in a particular day. You want to get this to 100% each day if at all possible, because it increases their fitness level. Again, we're at the very end of my testing here, so this guy's fitness is at 100%. Then below that, we get into health and cleanliness. Now the health will stay at or extremely close to 100% as long as you take care of their needs. The water and straw, we've already taken a look at where you can deposit those in the paddock. And then you have the two options for food, the oats as well as the hay. So as long as you're providing them at least one of the two options for food as well as water and straw, you're going to have no issues at all with the health. Now the cleanliness, this is at 100% now, but as soon as you start to ride the horse, this will start to steadily decline. And in my experience, it gets into the 50s or 60% range, somewhere thereabouts on a normal basis as I'm riding the horse. Once you get back into the paddock, after riding the horse, you'll simply come up next to the horse and an option will come up to, in my case by default, left click the mouse once or twice, and that will simply brush the horse a couple of times, and that will get you back to 100% cleanliness. So very simple there. The time that you're going to spend with horses really isn't all about water, straw, and the food. It's all about the time you're going to have to spend riding them. Now remember what I said about the start that we're using, the farm manager start. Keep that in mind as we're talking about these numbers, because under this map, we're looking at 5 minutes of real time that you need to ride the horse in order for you to reach 100% on the daily riding. So if we walk over to the horse, we're going to press E to ride the horse, and then we simply start moving forward. And in the top left-hand corner, you're going to see we can go from walk to trot to canter to gallop and so on. Also, you can see that there's really no need to open up the gates over there to get out. You can easily walk right up and over the top. Now, as far as your fitness percentage, okay, if we bring this up, you can see we're already at 6%, 7%, and so on. This percentage is not affected by how slow or fast you might be moving on the horse. As long as you're riding the horse and it's moving, even if it's just at a walking pace, then that percentage seems to go up the same amount. So it really doesn't matter to you. And you certainly don't get done any quicker by going at a full sprint, a full gallop, as opposed to a slow walk. So keep that in mind as you're moving across. Also, you can see that our cleanliness is indeed being reduced. This is a great reminder. And as you can see, our percentages are still continuing to go because I've not paused the game. I've simply brought up the menu. So our cleanliness option is going to continue to go down as our daily riding percentage increases. Let's go ahead and increase this. Let's have a jump. And let's go ahead and stop. So now we need to clean this guy. Let's pretend we've already ridden him to 100%. We're going to come over to him. Now you see Clean Venus, which is the horse's name. We're going to click on that one time, and that is sufficient this particular time because we didn't ride him all that much, only 25%, and you can see that takes our cleanliness back up to 100%. Perfect. That is exactly what we're looking for. You can always change the default name for each horse by simply highlighting the horse and, in my case, clicking on the space bar to rename. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the money. The goal that you're looking for, we've already seen purchase price is $5,000 for any of the different breeds of horses. Your goal is to get up to the $50,000. That is when you're at 100% fitness level and, of course, 100% in the health and cleanliness as well. $50,000 is your goal, and that's going to be the same regardless of what food you provide for them. The difference is if you provide both oats and hay throughout the entirety of the process, you will get done about 5 days quicker. And what this means, and I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of a spreadsheet that I have with all of these numbers located on it. Give you guys an opportunity to pause the video and get a screenshot, and that way you'll have all of these numbers and you won't have to worry about writing them down or remembering them. But if you choose to provide both oats and hay, then you're going to need to ride this one horse about 10 days to get from 5,000 to 50,000. If you choose to provide only the oats, then it's going to take you about 15 days. So that'll give you an idea of what the percentages are and how long it might take. And that is assuming that you actually get the daily riding percentage up to 100% each and every day. If you miss a day with a horse where you get a 0 riding percentage, then the horse will actually decline in fitness by 2% per day. So keep that in mind. The horses will actually go backwards from where they start, which is about 5% fitness. They will actually go backwards to a 0% fitness level, in which case they will be worth only $500. So again, keep that in mind. Make sure that you keep your water and straw topped off, or at least enough that they're not in any danger of running out. And that's going to make sure that your health bar are very close to 100%. Same thing with the food. Providing both of these is really not all that difficult. Now, if you're not familiar with where we're located on the map, I'm actually going to walk outside the enclosure, and then we're going to take a look at the map itself. We're actually at the very top of the map near the water. And what I've done is I've purchased fields 1, 2, and 3, where field 2 is where the enclosure is. Field 3 is actually already from the beginning of the game. It contains oats that are almost ready to be gathered. And then field 1 is already planted with grass. So the 2 food items I need are already well within my grasp. But now, as we look around on the map, I've placed a couple of other they're not crucial. You don't have to place these buildings, but I have a hayloft here. And the hayloft is great because this is a great place to store straw, which in this case we can get right over here from field 3, which has the oats. As we are harvesting the oats, straw is an option to be left behind the harvester, so that makes it perfect for us. So we can store our straw as well as hay here in the hayloft, and then on the other side of the hayloft, whenever it is time that we need them, we can simply pull into this designated area and load the amount that we need. All right, as we move over, I have one other thing. This is a water tank that is available within the store. And once you place this, you can simply drive your water tank that we saw earlier right over on the side of the horse paddock. You can bring the water trailer over and fill it up here at your water tank. So both of these are very handy. Another option that would be very handy is to have some sort of a silo to store the oats. That's the one thing I don't currently have here on this particular test farm. But that'll do it for our discussion of the horses today. Hopefully this information has been helpful to you. Again, here at the very end of the video, I'm going to end with a screenshot of some of the numbers that I've shown you guys today. But just to summarize, you have 2 different ways of purchasing and also selling the horses, which are within this area as well as back to the map here at the animal dealer where we started the video. So that's how you can purchase and or sell those with or without a trailer. You're going to feed them oats and or hay. So you can do either or both, just depending on how quickly you want to get from the $5,000 purchase price up to the $50,000 final value of the horse. And then of course you're also going to need to provide water and straw along the way. And we already talked about that whenever you're growing oats, the straw is going to be a nice byproduct of that. So you can really, in this top corner of the map with fields 1, 2, and 3, you have the perfect setup for a horse farm. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our support for Farming Simulator 19.